What if I were to tell you that I went down to my local Walmart and hit it up above, waiting to find its spot on the shelf, was a $30 US full auto 72 round NERF dart blaster that looks like a Thompson submachine gun. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's 100% a thing, and yeah, there are some caveats, but this is the Adventure Force Alpha Auto 72. Yep, full auto 72 dart NERF drum, ready to go for $30 US. This video is sponsored by Mech Arena. Big mechs, bigger weapons, awesome graphics, strategic real-time team-based PvP shooting action. Mech Arena has everything you need to scratch that itch, whether it's getting the absolute most out of your 5-minute break or your multi-hour binge session. Choose your mech, with each one having different stats like energy capacities, health, and movement speed, but most importantly, each one has a unique ability, like being able to jump high up in the air to reach places other mechs can't, or launch out a long line of shields to protect yourself and your entire team. Use these strategies carefully and outplay your opponents. With small, fast-paced arenas and constant action where you need to carefully plan your next move, this isn't some run-and-gun reflex shooter, you're piloting a giant mech. Customization is king in Mech Arena. With dozens of weapons to choose from, each one having a different energy requirement, and with 2 weapon slots per mech, you can build all sorts of crazy mechs, like one that has a shotgun and a sniper rifle at the same time. You got your mechs, you got your weapons, but don't forget to choose your pilot. Each pilot has different specialties, and each one can be upgraded with multiple implants and specialize them even further. Choose the right mech with the right weapons with the right pilot and absolutely dominate the arena. My favorite way to farm salt is the Arachnos with dual long arms. If I shoot anyone in the side or the back, I'll deal extra damage that can delete even the tankiest mechs. And then I have to chill behind a corner and reload for several seconds, but thankfully my spider turret ability keeps me company if anybody tries to get too close. And with a constant slew of updates adding new maps, weapons, mechs, pilots, balance changes, and more, Mech Arena is always getting better. New seasons and multiple events going on where you can accumulate points for playing a variety of different game modes and unlock tons of free upgrade cards and currency, as well as the latest champion Stefani, new weapons, new skins, and so much more. Ready to hop into the action? Good, because Mech Arena is giving my fans who scan the QR code on screen or use my link down in the description below to try out Mech Arena for the first time some awesome free rewards. 1 free Steel Reaper skin to hit the arena in style, 500 free A-coins, and 70,000 free credits. And if you're ready to get absolutely obliterated by me, here's my in-game code. Come try me on sometime. Thanks again to Mech Arena for sponsoring this video. I'm Walcom S7, and man, Buzzbee, you had me going last year, you know, with all the absolutely horrible blasters you were putting out, like the Thunder Shot, the Trigger Fire, the Tetris Shot, and all that other garbage that made me wish you'd go back to how things were. I mean, thank goodness you were just pranking us, bro. Yeah, don't worry, I don't know how this review is gonna work either, because the entire actual review that I shot had absolutely no sound. Buzzbee, 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 Buzzbee. Buzzbee. This is actually a Buzzbee blaster, but it's sold under Walmart's Adventure Force line, which means at the moment this blaster is a Walmart exclusive. However, it may be sold at other retailers under a different name with possibly a different color scheme. Yeah, it costs $30. And it's a 72 dart full, I can't say that enough, because that, especially in this economy, is mind-blowing. We're all expecting dart blaster prices to just go up and be stupid. I mean, this blaster is on shelves next to this thing, and that is a pump-action 8-shot dinosaur thing that NERF is trying to sell for... And yet Buzzbee gives us this, the Chicago Typewriter. And it's funny because this is the second Thompson submachine gun design that Adventure Force has been selling. But if you know anything about Buzzbee, you know the most important thing. They apparently cannot design grips that are made for human hands. And yet, here we are, Alpha Auto 20, one of the biggest grips I've ever seen on a Buzzbee blaster. And yes, even for my small, delicate, childlike hands, fits me absolutely perfectly. It is very comfortable. It does have a foregrip None of this stuff is removable, by the way. The drum, this is where things get really interesting because pull that pin, pull the drum. It is 100% removable, which means if you wanted to have multiple drums, even though they're this freaking big, you could do exactly that. And yes, this absolute behemoth holds 72 darts. And how exactly does that work? Well, it is suspiciously similar to the Dart Zone Tomahawk 60, one of the best blasters released last year. However, that was 60 darts, semi-auto flywheel, while this is 72 darts, full auto. And we'll get to which one I think is the better pick in a moment, but that can't be understated how freaking cool this is, even though it's huge. And you have to reload it, which is going to take you a very long time, but it's done in a pretty intelligent way. Its feeding system is unique compared to like the gravity fed system that we saw with the Tomahawk 60. There's actually a little spring-loaded pusher in there that pushes the dart upwards. To reload this thing, well, that's also way better than the Tomahawk 60. You take your Buzzbee long distance dart. Yes, they're still making these things for some reason. And you just put it in the back of the blast drum. It's effortless. It works perfectly. Well done, Buzzbee. A very well-designed system. And my favorite part about this is the fact that, once again, it actually looks like a Thompson. Yes, some of you like your detachable mags and everything like that, but drum magazines just work better for me. Yeah, this passes the Thompson look. And hey, look at that, a stock. That's detachable. And surprisingly enough, that looks a little bit familiar. And wouldn't you know it, it is 100%, although it won't match the aesthetics, compatible with N-Strike stocks. So there's a good amount of customization if you already have quite a few of them. And I want to apologize, I am sweating horrendously because it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm standing under studio lights. There's also this removable sight on a Buzzbee. It doesn't do anything. This is not a sight. It literally does nothing. You can't aim with it, but it's cool. Yeah, I kept calling this a $30 full auto 72 dart blaster, but the way this thing works is a flywheeler. So you load in 6 AA batteries to power the beast, and it's got a single trigger. So if you pull it just a little bit, it starts revving. Pull it all the way and it will fire. And I've calculated that rate of fire at 125 rounds a minute, or practically nothing. And these are with like fresh Energizer Max batteries too. This thing just doesn't fire that fast, which is kind of on par for course for Buzzbee, which is probably the only downside of this entire package, besides the fact that this drum is absolutely massive, and if you're not careful when moving around, it will spin like a roulette wheel, and that could be a problem if you just twist. Yeah, so if you were reloading this thing on the fly and you had a couple of chambers up here ready to go and you accidentally tilt the blaster, you're gonna be firing empty darts until you can get back into position, and this drum will only spin one direction. So let's take it outside, let's take it over to the chronograph and see exactly what we're working with when it comes to distance out of this thing, because last year, none of the Buzzbee blasters I reviewed hit anywhere close to their advertised distance. Maybe the Alpha Auto 72 is a bit better. So, $30, 72 rounds, full auto, easy to reload. You can detach the drum and replace it if you really need to do a complete restock. And it hits over 90 FPS with the included darts. If you want a little bit better accuracy at the cost of some performance, you can always use the darts you'll find right on the shelf next to it, the Adventure Force waffle-tipped darts. Yeah, that's a pretty freaking compelling package right there. That's gonna make a lot of people happy. And it should be stated that for something like this being full auto, that's gonna be a lot more fun for kids. It's gonna be a lot more accessible to them because they're not gonna have to worry about having big hands and long trigger pulls for semi-auto to rotate this drum or anything. Full auto is the way to go for them. But what is this blaster good for when it comes to somebody like me? Well, it's super fun, and for 60 bucks I could dual wield it, and that would double my capacity, and that would logically double my capacity and rate of fire. And for HVZ or something like that, that would be a budget effective build, because the rate of fire is at that point where it's fast enough to be a threat, but it's still too slow to actively track fast moving targets. But when the fast moving targets are coming towards you, it's not gonna matter a whole lot. However, the Tomahawk 60 is the same price, and do I think this is a better blaster than the Tomahawk 60? For some people, yes, and I'm sure this blaster will have a lot of fans, but the Tomahawk 60 being semi-auto, that you could fire faster than this thing, that means the Tomahawk 60 is probably a better pick for those of you that are more performance orientated and want to make sure your shots count. But for virtually everybody else, even if you do want to do some HVZ on a more fun side of things, the Alpha Auto 72 is fantastic. It looks good. It ironically feels pretty good. You could reload it without bending your darts. It is full auto, although it's really slow. And if you wanted to get super serious about it, I've looked inside of it, and sure enough, the flywheel cage is a separate piece, unlike the Tomahawk 60, which means as soon as there's a cage for it, you can 3D print one, shove it in there, rewire it for a lipo, even though that battery tray is very, very small, which may be a problem. Make this thing hit harder and shoot even faster, which, I can fully get behind that. And the fact that they put this on the shelf right next to Nerf's normal offerings is, just makes Nerf look like they can't compete anymore, which is a huge shame. So at the end of the day, if you like what you see here and want it, I can definitely recommend it, but it is not the end-all be-all when it comes to full auto. However, it is certainly a shining star when it comes to capacity. And 72 like Nerf darts, not rival rounds, not hype or anything like that, in one blaster, that is a lot of darts on tap, and this thing is practically unmatched in that sense. So while I'm not gonna say everybody should go out there and buy this thing like I would suggest something like the Villainator, it's still, if you like what you see here, I highly recommend you pick it up. And once again, I found this at my local Walmart for $30 US. But before I melt away, I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. Chances are if you got all the way to the end, you like what I do here, so please hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, do all that algorithmic garbage to help the channel grow so you can help the hobby grow. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different video. Holy crap, it's hot.
You gotta